Every great change begins with an idea. Bold enough to question the present and visionary enough to imagine the future. Seeing the bigger picture, a group of scientists came together to share their vision and revolutionary ideas. In 2002, they set out to create more than just a conference. They built a global community of thinkers, innovators, and change makers, united by one mission: to face challenges and call for action.
The SDEWES conference originated in Dubrovnik, a city that flourished at the crossroads of empires, by embracing lateral thinking and a broad perspective. Inspired by this approach, we set out to address the challenges of sustainable development across energy, water, and environment systems.
From the very beginning, SDEWES stood out, ahead of its time, a pioneer in connecting key issues as part of the bigger picture. While sustainability was still a distant idea to the world, conference was already exploring real solutions. SDEWES has always been more than just a scientific conference. It is about collaboration, vision, and determination to shape a better future. To expand across regions, to encourage the integration of energy, water, and the environment, economy, and society as one interconnected system.
I love SDEWES for its multidisciplinary spirit. It shapes global climate policy and often presents mitigation solutions beyond the IPCC. Coming from South and Eastern Europe, for me, SDEWES has been an eye-opener and a boost to scientific standards.
Since its first conference, SDEWES has grown into a global platform, meeting ground for the brightest minds tackling real-world challenges, the ones our future depends on. Climate change, energy transition, and sustainable development were discussed at SDEWES long before they became political headlines. And from the beginning, it has encouraged policymakers and industry leaders to face challenges head-on.
Scientists and researchers with increasing responsibilities to connect solutions and disciplines make an impact for a safer climate future. From Asia-Pacific to Africa, from Europe to the Americas, there is great potential to continue to collaborate in teamwork and to realize the possibilities that there are, to envision, enable, and advance together to realize these opportunities.
The past decade has been the 10 warmest years on record. In 2024, global temperature was about 1.55 degrees Celsius warmer than the pre-industrial average. Every fraction of a degree matters, increasing risks, damages, and costs to society. Greenhouse gases continue to rise, reaching record levels. The oceans absorb 90% of this excess heat, warming waters, disrupting weather, and threatening marine life. Glaciers are melting, ecosystems are degrading, and our resilience is being tested as never before.
Closing the ozone layer and solving the global warming problem are often compared, but the value chains behind are completely different. The transformation of the energy system are completely different. Those who produce and install photovoltaic and wind power systems are not the same that operate the global fossil system today. The latter will disappear, and that is the battle we need to continue to fight.
How can we use the benefits of civilization in the most ecological way? How do we reduce resource dependency? Today, more than ever, science must inform and demand action. At SDEWES, participants from around the world present their research, proving that sustainability is not a local issue, but a global mission. The goal is always the same: to connect ideas across borders and disciplines, and to inspire solutions that work in practice.
They create a unique space where science meets local challenges, helping shape policies, inspire innovation, and strengthen regional capacity for climate action. From Rio de Janeiro, Sao Paulo, Buenos Aires, Viña del Mar, and now Cartagena, SDEWES empowers Latin American voices in the global sustainability dialogue, building a more just, resilient, and low-carbon future for all.
The International Scientific Committee is the backbone of the SDEWES conference, with its members playing vital roles. Half are ranked among the top 2% of the world's most cited scientists, according to Stanford University. Beyond the conference, SDEWES is a scientific family that continues to grow. A place where young researchers meet mentors, where collaboration becomes action, where friendships cross continents. The quality of discussion sparks new approaches, and the diversity of ideas enriches every perspective, a legacy built from the very beginning.
I happened to come to the first SDEWES conference in Dubrovnik already in 2002, and I found it so fascinating that I have been coming back ever since. I think that the cross-disciplinarity with energy, environment and water is really good. I think it's one of the best contributions to how we as scientists can develop how to do the green transition.
The impact of SDEWES is measurable and profound. Over the years, it has brought together thousands of experts and published several thousands of contributions shaping global energy and environmental policy. The energy transition is gaining momentum. Renewables are becoming a leading source of electricity, while the electrification of industry, transport and heating is accelerating. And today, more and more countries are recognizing the power of integrated and smart energy systems.
China's green energy has taken off like a rocket during the past few years. May the SDEWES conference spark fresh ideas, new friendship, shared action, so we all move faster toward a net zero future.
The energy transition is vital for Morocco and Africa. It's not just about sustainability. It's about development, resilience, and future prosperity. That's why I believe it was essential to bring SDEWES to Morocco and to host the first ever African edition in Saidia, creating a platform for dialogue, innovation, and cooperation across our continent.
A global transition to 100% renewable energy is not a dream. It is possible, affordable, and within reach. Clean energy, sustainable cities, safe water, thriving communities – these are not distant goals, but interconnected solutions to be achieved. And the true power of SDEWES is to be the meeting place for those determined to make it happen.
I'm deeply proud to have been in the origin and involved along the years in the SDEWES community. It has started in Dubrovnik and now puts together researchers and scientists from North, South, East and West in the 5 continents and involve more than 70 countries. Congratulations to SDEWES.
The spirit of SDEWES is stronger than ever. From a pioneering idea to a global community, it has become a driver of innovation looking ahead to the next decades of sustainable development. This is a long-distance race, but never a single discipline. It is a system of interconnectedness between energy and water, environment and climate, research and practice, knowledge and action, vision and mission.
The world resonated with our vision. Today, SDEWES is a vibrant scientific community expanding globally and shaping the best solutions for the sustainable future.
The story of SDEWES is not just one of achievement, but of continuous transformation, celebrating a symbolic milestone, years of vision, growth and influence. It continues to challenge, question and inspire, from Dubrovnik to the world.
Good morning, distinguished guests, esteemed colleagues, and future leaders in sustainability. On behalf of the local organizing committee, it's my great pleasure to welcome you all on this 20th Conference on Sustainable Development of Energy, Water, Environment Systems, SDEWES Dubrovnik 2025. We are thrilled to have you here in the historic and beautiful city of Dubrovnik, and I hope that you didn't come here as a tourist, but as a scientist with an open mind and open hearts for new ideas, for new friendships, for new collaboration, because it's our mission to continue to foster a deeper understanding of how we can achieve a sustainable future. Our focus is on the crucial task on decoupling the economic growth from the consumption of planet's finite resources, paving the way for a knowledge-based economy. This conference, as you could see, is a unique platform that brings together a diverse group of researchers, policymakers, and industry leaders from around the world. It's a place for vibrant discussion, sharing groundbreaking ideas, and forging new collaborations. We encourage you to engage with one another, challenge existing paradigms, and contribute to the collective effort of building a more sustainable and equitable world for generations to come. Welcome to SDEWES 2025. Let the exchange of ideas begin. So, it's my great pleasure and honor, and please join me in welcoming our conference secretary, Professor Zvonimir Guzovic, who will deliver the opening welcome address. Professor Guzovic, please. Professor Guzovic is here with us from the second conference, and he's a member of scientific committee that brings really a lot to the conference. So, please.
Dear colleagues, friends, ladies and gentlemen, it is my great pleasure and honor to welcome all of you to the 20th Jubilee Conference on Sustainable Development of Energy, Water, and Environment System, SDEWES. The SDEWES family is constantly growing. In addition to the traditional Dubrovnik SDEWES conference since 2002, we also have a series of Southeast Europe conference since 2014, Latin American conference since 2018, Asia Pacific conference since 2020, and from this year, African conference. Also, the number of participants from the first to the 20th conference increased tenfold, from 60 to 600 participants. This is excellent and points to the importance of SDEWES conferences, especially when we remember the recent catastrophic phenomena that are direct consequence of global warming, numerous of major fires, hurricanes, major floods on one side, and major droughts on the other side of the world, problems with warm water of rivers and the sea, etc. The main aim of the COP29 conference held in Baku, Azerbaijan in November last year was to deliver a new significantly increased climate finance goal, setting a minimum of $300 billion USA dollars annually by 2035 for developing countries to advance climate action. Scientific researchers show that global warming and its effects are happening faster than expected. Therefore, at the celebration of the 8th anniversary of the founding of the United Nations last month, the UN General Assembly called on member states to submit update climate plans to renew global moment in the fight against climate change. Unfortunately, at the same time, could be heard that renewable energy sources and climate change are a scam. Also, that the prediction of the UN and other institutions were wrong, etc. Because of such opinions, the role and responsibility of us scientists is even more significant. Finally, I'm sure that you will again enjoy not only the technical presentation and valuable scientific discussion, but also the local hospitality, food, culture, and sightseeing of beautiful Dubrovnik. I wish all of us a successful conference. Thank you very much for coming and for your attention. The 20th SDEWES conference is opened. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Guzovic. Now it's my great honor and pleasure to invite the chairman of SDEWES International Scientific Committee, Professor Henrik Lund. And as you can hear, the International Scientific Committee is the backbone of the SDEWES, ensuring the quality of our submissions, of special sessions, of special issues, and also of our keynote speeches and everything. So please welcome Professor Henrik Lund now on the stage.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests and local organizers, dear colleagues, dear friends. It is indeed my privilege and also my pleasure to warm welcome you to the conference this year. It's number 20, so we have anniversary and jubilee conference. So let's celebrate that. I can see that many of you have been here before. I saw that during the reception yesterday, and also now there's a lot of familiar faces. And some of you have been here more than once before, several times before. To all of you, I would like to say a very, very warm welcome back to the conference. Then I can also see some of you are here for the first time. And indeed, those of you who are here for the first time, I always like to warm welcome you. And I hope you'll find it good to be here, and I hope you'll feel welcome. And I will call upon all of us who have been here before to make the newcomers very, very welcome in our society here. The conference started more than 20 years ago, and 20 conferences in the beginning. And as we have already heard here on the video and also on the speeches, this conference and this community is sort of a front runner, a very early mover in looking from a scientific point of view into this topic and those very big challenges we share. And we have been doing that. In my view, I think the most important thing about this conference is that we have been looking at how to solve the problems. Not only how to describe them, but how to solve them. And that's how we have been giving our scientific contribution, shared our knowledge, provided and developed the knowledge on how to solve those big problems such as climate change and also water supply and so on. So how to solve them is the key of what we do. But in this conference from the very beginning, and it's also put into the title of the conference, we do it in the approach in which we realize that this is not something narrow. This is not something where one technology can solve all of it. We have to take this a much broader approach in which technology have to collaborate with other technologies, and then we make the system that is part of our title. And it's not only looking at the energy or the environment or the water separately. It's when we look at it together and when we look at take this system approach, we will be able to provide the technically reliable, the doable, the affordable solutions to these greater problems. And our contribution as scientists is to tell how we can do it and how we can implement these solutions. And it's not only a matter of engineering, it's also governance. It's not only technology, it's also how to implement these technologies, how to involve communities, and all these broad aspects that we put together in this conference here. And when we do this, if we go back a few years, I would say we have an interesting and very important collaborations with politicians and authorities and governments around the world. And a couple of years ago, I would have said, now the governments and the politicians have done at least an important part of their job. They have provided us with ambitious goals for what we should do. Ambitious aims on to deal with these bigger global problems. And our job is then to provide the solutions. But I think all of us can see that, how should I put it, in certain corners of the political life, there are a few politicians that are in a situation in which they hesitate a little bit about being as ambitious as I think we need to be on the global level. So what should we do, we the scientists, in this current situation? Should we feel that we are not encouraged enough to do our part of the share, providing solutions, and give up? No, I will say no. Now more than ever, there is a need for that we do what we do. Because our relation with the politicians and governments works both ways. By having ambitious political goals, they encourage us to identify the good solutions to that. But it also works the other way. If we can provide good solutions, technically reliable and also affordable solutions to the problems, if we can provide that knowledge, we will also give the courage back to the politicians and the citizens to be ambitious on the goals. And I think now more than ever there is a need for that. So now more than ever there is a need for us keep doing what we do best, provide the solutions, share the knowledge, because these are global problems. Share the knowledge among us and develop the knowledge and communicate the knowledge and give the hope and the courage for our collaborators on the political agenda to be brave and to keep up having ambitions to solve these problems. And with these words, I would like to welcome you all once again and also encourage you to keep sharing your knowledge, keep communicating, keep networking, keep doing what we do best. Welcome.
Thank you, Henrik, on these lovely messages and the brave start. So since its beginning, the conference was organized in Dubrovnik, and we got a lot of support from the local scientists from University of Dubrovnik. But we outgrew their facilities, and then we moved to this place, but we are now outgrowing even this place. So we need to see how we will continue in 2 years. But nevertheless, we are happy to have here a representative from the University of Dubrovnik, Professor Mato Brautovic, Vice Rector for Internationalization, Public Relations and the Student Standards of University of Dubrovnik, who will also be giving a welcome address. So please.
Distinguished guests, colleagues and friends, it's my great pleasure to welcome you on behalf of University of Dubrovnik, proud co-organizer of the Conference on Sustainable Development of Energy, Water and Environment Systems. Dubrovnik has always been a crossroad of culture, trades and ideas. Today, it becomes a crossroad for sustainability, where engineers, environmental scientists, economists and communicators meet to shape a more resilient and just future. This conference reminds us that sustainability is not a collection of isolated problems, but a system of systems integrating energy, water, transport, waste, building and industry. To succeed, we must think holistically, act collaboratively and communicate transparently. In my own field, the study of disinformation and conspiracies, I've seen how easily false narratives can distort public understanding, weaken trust, and stall progress. Whether it's climate denial or suspicion toward renewable technologies, these narratives can undermine even the best scientific and policy solutions. This is why the road to sustainability is not only technical, but also informational and cultural. We must build societies that are not only energy efficient, but also truth resilient. At the University of Dubrovnik, we see this intersection as central to our mission. As one of the youngest public universities in Croatia, we are building a model for education that connects science with society, combining technology, social sciences, and humanities to address complex global challenges. Through our research on media, communication, and public trust, we seek to strengthen the knowledge foundations to make sustainable transitions possible. Over the coming days, I encourage you to cross borders between disciplines, sectors, and ideas. Dubrovnik, with its centuries of openness and exchange, is a perfect setting for such a dialogue. On behalf of University of Dubrovnik, I wish you an inspiring conference filled with meaningful connections and new insights. Welcome to Dubrovnik, the city of openness, heritage, and innovation. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Brautovic, on this welcome address. Maybe University of Dubrovnik is not big, but they have really remarkable results in maritime science, in communications, in economy and tourism. So you are welcome to collaborate with them in future initiatives. Now I would like to give a little bit of statistics of this conference, just to see where we are standing now. So. Oops. As you heard, conference is organized by University of Zagreb and the Instituto Superior Técnico from Lisbon, Portugal, and under direct organization of International Center of Sustainable Development of Energy, Water, and Environment Systems. This year, we are proud to announce that we have 790 participants coming from 68 countries, 370 cities, and over 350 universities, institutions, and companies. We have representatives here from the 6 continents, and we are proud that we got to these really remarkable numbers. Maybe you can find here a flag of your country, but we look at it as a unite place because we have only one Earth and we need to work together to make it more sustainable. And maybe you heard some of the numbers, but you can see that we really started more than 20 years ago from Dubrovnik as a small conference supported by European funding, and since then we are growing and reaching the numbers that are really remarkable. So, as I mentioned, we have 68 countries here represented, but more than 795 participants registered both online and on-site. And what we are proud of, that we have maybe more than 1,200 received abstracts. And what is also not shown here, you know, there are combined numbers for some years because we have more conferences, but this year we also started the African conference in Saidia in Morocco, and the numbers for this year will be really bigger. So now you can see how the conference is growing, and when you have this idea and vision to share the knowledge, maybe we can expect these numbers for 20 years or even sooner in Africa, Latin America, and every other place where conference is present. So that's why we started the series of conferences on each of the continent. We try to gather the scientists and bring them this idea of sustainability. And maybe you are aware of this butterfly effect theory that says that, you know, flapping the wings gently of butterfly can cause the hurricane in Brazil, can cause hurricane in Texas. So all of these conferences are somehow of butterflies that caused really huge impact in current and society. So we have them from Southeast Europe to Latin America to Asia Pacific, now Africa, and you are welcome to add your butterflies here. And what we are proud of and why we are so strong in a quality conference, because we are, of course, followed by many partner journals which are published special issues from different topics, from different subjects, and we are really multidisciplinary. So we are proud to say that we have published more than 3,500 papers in distinguished journals, but also, as I said, we are not just providing the journals with the papers. The members of International Scientific Committee and members of SDEWES are becoming the editors of these journals, and we are proud that many of them are now here. So this is somehow a joint effort to grow together in more sustainable world. And since 2013, we decided to make the science of sustainability more open, and then SDEWES decided to form its own online journal, SDEWES, which is now, and from its beginning, the editor is Professor Neven Dujic, and publisher is SDEWES Center. We are indexed in many of the databases, but current impact factor is 2.2, and we are ready to open maybe publications for more journals, because more papers, because there is quite big interest for publishing. Then we also know that if we don't measure something, it's hard to make improvements. So we decide to start a new journal of sustainable development indicators, where we published already third issue in first volume, and we are inviting all of you to submit your papers as the journal is becoming more and more popular. Similar, we have also decided to make another journal of sustainable development of natural resources management, which has two editors, Shi Wang and Professor Petr Sabe-Verbanov. It's also online open access journal, which published third issue, and it's also becoming more and more popular. And for the next year, we also decided to start a new journal, open access, so Journal of Sustainable Development of Smart Energy Networks, which will be edited by Professor Francesco Celius and from Italy, and we are proud to see the first paper published. Then, don't forget that we are not just present in this world, in this reality, we are also present in virtual world, and there is virtual conference going on, because it's impossible to follow all the presentations, all the sessions. You know, you have a limited physical time, so please join online conference, to watch all presentations that you didn't manage to see in this place, and try to ask questions to make all the response to the questions. Use this platform as a place where we can really exchange and get more ideas and become more and make more from our research. So the conference is ongoing, and also for the tracking the real-time conference, you join the website and you can see also the lectures and everything online. Until now, we have this really strict publishing rules, strict participation rules, so please follow them, as you know, your papers will be excluded if you are not here, if you don't present your posters, if you don't make presentations, and if you don't answer all the questions. So I hope that you enjoyed these statistics and that you are now more familiar with the current SDEWES conference. So thank you once again, and now I would like to invite Professor Neven Dujic to give as a SDEWES president, to give the introductory note on SDEWES' role in energy transition and climate change mitigation science. So, Neven, please, welcome.
Well, it's quite difficult to measure the influence of one conference, and I'm sure that each of your papers, of your presentations did move the world a little bit, but I will try to concentrate in this presentation on one topic where the influence is kind of measurable, and I think quite important. Since we started with SDEWES in 2002, this influence or this idea was slowly developing. Here you can see 4 invited talks at the first conference that was kind of showing the way where to go. Our first chair of International Scientific Committee, Professor Afgan, gave a talk on sustainability concepts. Our second chair of IC, Professor Lear, gave a talk about water demand and water desalination technologies, one important power-to-X technology or power-to-water technology. Professor Carvalho gave talk on new and renewable energy systems. Later on, she was working with Barroso on 2008 climate energy, the reform of EU, and now she is the Minister of Energy and Environment. And finally, Professor Hanjelic, one of the founders of the conference, gave a talk about pollution and modeling pollution. But that was also a time when I met Professor Henrik Lund, and we clicked because we were working on a similar problem. You have renewables, which are stochastic, wind and solar, available everywhere, but very stochastic, and then you have load, which is also changing during the day and during the season. I was working at that time on Porto Santo case, and I found out that you can't really solve this problem without integration of power system with other systems. And Henrik understood this. He was working on power to heat at that time, very important technology for Denmark. And then we understood we are pushing the same idea. And then, well, at the 5th conference, there was already talks about energy planning, about power to heat, about power to transport, power to water, power to hydrogen. All these bits have come together slowly. And at 9th conference, which was held on a cruiser in Mediterranean, already in the scope we have smart energy systems and integration of power, heat, transport, and water. It took time for the idea to grow to actual titles. Then if we look at IPCC assessment report 1 to 5, they generally recognize importance of renewables, but do not find ways for high variable renewable penetration system, and that results in hugely depending on CCS and nuclear technologies, which still did not happen. Maybe they will. Only Assessment Report 6 recognizes electrification of heating, transport, and industry as a way to go, but still does not fully solve this variable renewable penetration problem. What is the problem? You have wind and solar in your power system, and they're pushing out the baseload. So baseload doesn't play anymore because you have to shut it down twice a day. But you still have problem in the evening when there is no wind and solar. So how to solve that? Some places are already coming to the bottom of the duck curve, where you have most of electricity delivered during the day by solar, but you still don't have electricity for the evenings. How to solve the problem of renewable variability or intermittency, call it the way you like. So what we found during many of these conferences is that we need, of course, more grid interconnections. We need to flexibilize thermal power plants. We need wholesale markets to make it cheap. But the crucial step is that we need to develop demand response and integration of power, heating, cooling, transport, water and industrial systems in smart energy systems or power to X. We will also need dedicated electricity storage, but we should see it, at least in Europe, as a last resort. Maybe in solar belts, batteries will be the main solution, but here it's more complicated because sun is not shining all the year in the same way. If we look at this grid issue, if we have a small country like Netherlands, the pale blue line, wind is very variable, yes. But if you look on the continental level, the black line, wind is not so variable. And if we take last 7 years hourly data sets for wind, it's actually a baseload. It never stops blowing somewhere in Europe. But for that, we need more grid interconnection. And what to do with this excess of wind if we overbuild wind? In order to make that economical, we have to find solutions. Of course, cycling thermal power plants is a solution, transitional solution. We will eventually phase them out, but now it's very important. This is German coal power plants. You see them working now less than 2,000 hours a year. Also, nuclear is cycling heavily, which kills the economics of nuclear. We'll have a panel, but it does deliver very clean electricity. That's true. The price of electricity gets very low when we have lots of wind and solar in the grid. So what can we do with this cheap electricity? If electricity is cheaper than 25 euros per megawatt hour, it's actually cheaper than biomass on the heating value. And more hours, we're getting free electricity, negative prices. This is not really good because it hinders investment, but it's a huge opportunity for demand response. Let's convert this electricity into heat or into your car batteries. How to do it with the heat? We have beautiful Danish example. Skagen data is available online. And you can see when electricity price is low, then power to heat works. Electric boiler and heat pumps convert excess electricity into heat we're going to need later, so it's stored. And when electricity price is high, then cogeneration turns on and produces power and heat. Transport electrification has started. In some places like China now, more than 50% of cars are being sold are electrical. Europe is backward. It's only 20% at the moment. But if we look at developing countries, it's exploding. I mean, Nepal was 75% last year. Ethiopia was 60% last year. So we are going to be a bit not leading but following developing countries in the transition process. So what happens with the something that Henrik has given it the name, critical excess of electricity production, which is the electricity you cannot integrate in the system when you increase the penetration of, in this case, wind and solar together. So up to some point, up to 40% of wind and solar, there is no problem in integration. But then after that, you basically can't integrate anymore. But if you add power to heat, power to transport, power to hydrogen for industrial feedstocks, flexible as everything, adds more interconnectors, you are moving to the right. And this is particularly difficult system. It's a Bulgarian system, so it's mostly base load, and it was quite difficult to do the transition. But those are technologies that increase flexibility and allow a higher level of integration of variable renewables. So how do we do the whole thing? We overbuild wind and solar for factor 3, and we have most of the legacy electricity demand covered. This is the red line. It's missing still in few white spots, but we have hydro, we have geothermal, we have biomass, we have plenty of options which can be used, nuclear also. But what we do with the excess? If we just do not produce it, it's a lost money. But it's free. We can produce it and use it somehow. So if we do our heating, our transport with this excess electricity, we have improved the economics of the whole process. And we are still left with lots of electricity which we can convert to chemical feedstocks and fuels, which will be needed to decarbonize everything. So IPCC, in its assessment report 7, adds chapter 14 to the working group 3 on integration and interactions across sectors and systems. So we feel that our ideas are finally being recognized by the most important scientific body that covers this topic. We think that SDEWES conference series has helped this process with creating scientific evidence. I would like to thank for that process Natasha Markovska, who is national focal point at IPCC. I would like to thank Shir Kilkish, Vice Chair of IPCC Working Group 3, who worked very hard on bringing this idea to Assessment Report 7. I will be a coordinating lead author of, or one of coordinating lead authors of that chapter, so I will try my best to bring those ideas to the 7th report. Felipe Feijó, with whom we cooperate and who is also IC member of SDEWES conference. He is going to be in chapter on energy. And then we're going to have some very important speakers at this conference who have very good ideas how to make that happen. Lead authors in chapter 14, Christian Breyer and Marie Münster. But of course, many others helped that. It was all of you, and not only all of you, but all the previous participants who brought these ideas finally to influence the political process. So I would like to thank you for that, and I hope we are going to have many such results in other areas also. Thank you.
Thank you, Neven, for this very remarkable introductory note. I hope your messages will be shared among SDEWES participants. Now, I would like to invite Professor Šir Kilkiš, and we will hear from her an an introductory note on sustainable development of energy, water, and environment systems to avoid increments of global warming. Professor Kilkiš is a distinguished member of International Scientific Committee, and she will give this speech. Thank you.
It's my great pleasure to share the message on sustainable development of energy, water, and environment systems to avoid increments of global warming in this opening ceremony. Greenhouse gas emissions continue to rise, and this has important implications, as we have been hearing, on all of us, including also the remaining carbon budget to limit global warming. We are currently at 1.24 degrees Celsius of global warming, as the average over pre-industrial levels over the last decade. And the year 2024 was the first calendar year in which we exceeded 1.5 degrees Celsius on an annual basis. There are signs of progress on the side of technology developments. There has been sustained decreases in the unit cost of solar energy, wind energy, batteries, and large increases in their development. And the sixth assessment report of the IPCC did recognize the prominence of energy systems that can accommodate large shares of renewable energy, and there continues to be scientific evidence in this direction. Some of the scientific evidence has also been used to support the outcomes of the first global stocktake under the Paris Agreement, where it was emphasized the need to transition away from fossil fuels and energy systems in a just, orderly, and equitable manner, accelerating action in this critical decade, so as to achieve net zero by 2050 in keeping with the science. And also the option of tripling renewable energy capacity globally and doubling the global average annual rate of energy efficiency improvements by 2030. There are also multiple reasons to ban inefficient equipment, including for space heating, and new scientific evidence also looks on how a complete ban increases the likelihood of reaching carbon neutrality while reducing total system costs in over 75% of the scenarios as well. There's also progress in electrification, as we've been hearing. This is looking into the electrification trend in the residential sector over the last 20 years by country. And this is the electrification trend in total final energy usage in the last 20 years. And this is an initial basis for integrated approaches and towards the steps for smart energy systems as an initial progress. Studies on 100% renewable energy systems for countries beyond those for global and regional studies are also increasing, so this is another sign of progress. And this brings me to three key messages that have urgency of being shared in this presentation. These are covering messages on accelerating decarbonization, urban areas, and co-benefits for health and well-being. The first key message is integrating solutions can accelerate decarbonization and enable sustainable development. As a synthesis of recent themes coming strongly from the scientific committee, integrating solutions, as we have been hearing again, can provide cross-sectoral benefits. In this recent synthesis of themes, this has covered those on demand flexibility to energy system restructuring and providing multiple promising opportunities, including ways of achieving dual goals of providing technological opportunities and access to basic services. Let's look at the illustrative scientific contributions worldwide. There has been progress on energy scenarios with the H2RES model, optimization of energy systems towards net zero CO2 emissions by 2050, supporting national targets, and the opportunity of creating new direct energy jobs from renewable power generation technologies. There has also been emphasis on this integrated perspective and the need for policy synergies and rural electrification strategies, including in the least developed and electrified regions, where less than half of the population has electricity access, ways to improve rural health centers, and also looking at panel data, where investment and expenditures on renewable energy can increase social welfare, public health, and also lead to economic growth. There has also been, in connecting disciplines, studies on regional climate change projections, need for policy coherence involving energy access, job creation, energy affordability, air quality, health, renewable energy infrastructure, green hydrogen, looking into water quality together with environment systems, and energy flexibility of buildings, among many, many others. So continue on this international and global journey of scientific contributions, connecting disciplines, connecting systems. We can also say there has been views of and scientific evidence on water energy nexus, indicators for healthy and sustainable cities, pathways for hydrogen production, floating solar plants, and also evidence on community-scale renewable energy infrastructure. There has been many more, from connected options and ways for wastewater treatment, service water quality, and many, many others, including new per capita indicators, exergy per capita, hydrogen valley at the gigawatt scale, and many others, and these are available in that recent synthesis of illustrative scientific contributions worldwide. This brings me to the second key message on urban areas. Effective mitigation action in urban areas will have an impact on reducing emissions and additional increments of global warming. This is based on a new method that links urban scenarios with the transient climate response to cumulative CO2 emissions, covering 465 urban areas with urban emission scenarios and 135 urban areas with land use efficiency scenarios. In international assessments, the transient climate response to cumulative CO2 emissions is assessed and used to estimate future global warming. The best estimate is that every 1,000 gigatons CO2 emitted corresponds to about a 1.45 degrees Celsius increase in the global mean surface air temperature. Looking into different scenarios for urban areas and their cumulative urban emissions, this scenario, which is a green growth scenario with widespread electrification of end uses in the urban energy system, as well as energy and material efficiency, leads to cumulative emissions to 2050, and the best estimate of the transient climate response to cumulative CO2 emissions indicates an additional increment of global warming as 0.08 degrees Celsius. In a less ambitious scenario, the cumulative urban emissions increase and accumulate more, and this leads to a best estimate, based on the best estimate of transient climate response, to a 0.13 degrees Celsius increase of additional increments of global warming. All else equal, given human-induced global warming at 1.24 degrees Celsius, this result alone can result in a 1.34 degrees Celsius impact of these urban areas at a global scale. Another urban emissions scenario with green growth leading to 100% renewable energy in 2050 is limiting the cumulative urban emissions, and the best estimate of transient climate response also indicates about less than half of this additional increment at 0.06 degrees Celsius. And this also requires utilizing urban infrastructure and urban energy usage patterns as key assets for enabling sector coupling. Ordering urban areas from highest to lowest based on their contributions to increments of global warming across different scenarios indicates that urban areas with the highest contribution do have an important role in being part of the solution. but it is the collective mitigation efforts of various urban areas across the world. And action of all 465 urban areas are crucial for obtaining the climate action outcomes that are targeted. The way urban areas are planned, whether they are more compact or relatively more dispersed, also has potential consequences on the surrounding carbon sinks based on their local biomes and potential penalties on naturally sequestrating CO2 emissions, and this can lead to additional increments of global warming as well. Taking these together in the various combinations across scenarios, we also see that it's possible to avoid 87 gigatons CO2 equivalent of cumulative urban emissions between 2020 and 2025 when there are more ambitious actions. And an original parameter, the avoidance of increments of global warming, also indicates the possibilities, and the possibility of avoiding about 0.04 degrees Celsius of additional increments of global warming, with just 135 urban areas being on track for these pathways. So bringing together urban emissions and global warming consequences can strengthen the basis for action. Here we see figures on the net cumulative urban emissions in the x-axis and contribution to increments of additional global warming on the y-axis. When renewable energy is combined with better urban planning, we can also see that the net cumulative urban emissions is limited and contributions to increments of global warming are also limited. So this is really the best chance that urban areas can have in limiting additional increments of global warming. The third key message is focusing on co-benefits of mitigation that extend to health and well-being and ensuring a safer climate future. There are multiple lines of evidence, including the Lancet Countdown on Health and Climate Change, that underscore how climate change is the greatest global health threat. In addition, average global anthropogenic particulate matter 2.5 exposure remains over 4 times higher than the 5 microgram per cubic meter World Health Organization guideline threshold. Clearly, there are opportunities to avoid air pollution through smarter solutions, and recently, a multi-dimensional benchmarking tool, namely the SDEWES index, is interfaced with urban mitigation scenarios and health co-benefits. For the benchmarked urban areas in the SDEWES index and with urban emission scenarios, about 89% of emissions reductions can be attributed to urban areas that are benchmarked as challenging cities. And when we look in a less ambitious scenario, their annual urban emissions can hover around similar levels in 2030. In the 100% renewable energy green growth scenario, we also see that the solution space widens for all of the benchmarked urban areas. Here, comparing their potential contribution to increments of global warming across scenarios, it's possible to see that challenged cities can avoid about 69.4% of the additional increase of global warming attributed to these urban areas, followed by transitioning cities at about 14%, pioneering cities at about 10.2%, and solution-seeking cities at about 6.4%. So these urban areas do have possibilities to avoid additional increments of global warming as well. And is it possible to envision improvements in benchmarking with scenarios? The answer is yes. The lower data points, the data sets, indicates the existing benchmark performances of these cities. The middle data set, the yellow dots, indicates possible convergences in the near term, so when urban areas move up to the next possible performance. But the top data series indicates scenario-driven levels of performance for all the 97 urban areas when coupled with the more ambitious scenario. So urban areas can improve performances for sustainability through the more ambitious scenarios. And it is also possible to effectively limit current emissions and average concentrations of fine inhalable particles, particulate matter 2.5, as we see also here. Looking into different categories or quartiles of performances of these urban areas, it's also possible to consider evidence on integrated exposure response curves and analyze that it's possible to save 120,408 human lives, coming as the co-benefits of health due to better air quality. So this is also the human face, the human dimension of how climate mitigation and addressing sustainable development can go hand in hand for benefits for people and the planet. Progress that can be aligned with these urban mitigation pathways also include flexibilization of demand, for example. And through this, Rome can also have improvements of saving human lives, as well as urban mitigation actions across various urban areas. The multitude of topics in the scientific conference, from energy and climate policy, energy and environment, smart energy systems, sustainability, comparisons and measurements, urbanism, water and wastewater treatment and reuse, water desalination, and water energy nexus, among many others, show how it is possible to envision and enable these solutions. And it's the interconnections of topics within the scientific program that is sure to also provide the basis for new solutions. In addition, each contribution to the scientific literature is valuable for the 7 assessment cycle, for the assessment of the scientific literature, the evidence, as well as, in the meantime, the real implementation of solutions to address global warming worldwide. The panel did decide to have 3 contributions of the working groups on the physical science basis, impacts, adaptation, and vulnerability, and mitigation of climate change, in addition to technical guidelines, a special report on climate change in cities, methodology reports, and a synthesis report. It's also important to note that the special report on climate change in cities will have a review timeframe from 17th October to 12th December of this year, and it's very important to register on the website in order to provide your comments for this special report. So there are 3 key messages that I had the opportunity to share with you in this opening session, from integrating solutions, acceleration of decarbonization, effective mitigation actions in urban areas to avoid additional increments of global warming, and co-benefits. Thank you very much for your attention, and have an excellent conference.
Thank you, Shir, for this great introductory note and for offering all these messages, but also thank you for developing the SDEWES index and for your contribution to IPCC. We know that urban environment is crucial for sustainability because the villages are sustainable last 10,000 years. So maybe if you go to a village around Dubrovnik, you can also spot some butterflies, and I thought that I saw some butterflies on Shir's presentation. So I think there will be many hurricanes in sustainability world. But we are 800 here, you know, so if we will not follow the rules, we will have chaos, and then you know, the small deviation can cause really big influence, or something will be, you know, destroyed, or things like that. So to avoid this, I'm inviting Associate Professor Tomislav Pukšec, who is in charge of the local organizing committee here on site, and he is someone who knows the rules that we need to follow to have this smooth conference. So please welcome Professor Tomislav Pukšec, and he will explain us how to behave in this conference.
Thank you, Goran, for the introduction. I'm very happy to be here today on this 20th Jubilee edition. I will be quite quick and brief. I will give you some pointers on how we implement the conference, and I will be quite administrative and technical. As you could probably already noticed, the SDEWES conference is a hybrid one, which means we have an online part and we have an on-site part. But whether you're online or you are here with us in Dubrovnik, the crucial thing is that you present your research, because people are coming here to listen to you and to see your research. So the most important part is actually for you to present it. Whether you are on a parallel session, whether you are presenting your research on a poster session, or answering the questions in the virtual conference. Unfortunately, if your research is not presented, then your paper will be cancelled and your paper will not be included in the final proceedings. So be on time, be punctual. Before the beginning of the session, a local organizing committee member will be in each room, like 15 minutes before. So you can also come 15 minutes before the session. You can copy your presentation, test if everything is okay. Local organizing committee people will be in the rooms and they will assist you and they will help you in whatever you need. This also applies to chairs and co-chairs, a very important role here. You will get your instructions and papers and documentations also from the local organizing committee members, so also be like 15 minutes before the session starts so we can prepare everything and have like a very smooth sailing regarding the sessions. As you, I don't know, some of you probably are here for the first time, but the conference will be held on the 2 levels. On this, let's say, lower level, we will have rooms A, B, C, and D. Currently, rooms A, B, and C are connected in this big hall. On the 2nd level, you will have your rooms E, F, G, H, I, and J, and the registration desk where you probably all already been and registered. Here in front of room A, we will have all of our coffee breaks. The first one will be after this session. And we will have our lunch breaks in the restaurant of the La Croma Hotel. So it's just in front of the room D. It's basically on this level. Each of you got your name tag and you got your tickets for lunch and for the social trip on Wednesday. So you have your lunch coupons for each day, which you will need when you're entering the restaurant to go for lunch. And you will have your social ticket coupon for the Wednesday trip. Please always have your name tag with you and your coupons with you when you're at the conference. On Wednesday, you will definitely need this ticket, the social ticket part, when you are going to the trip with us. We have a special section on the webpage which is very detailed on our social program, so you can always check all the information, but I suppose you already decided which trip on Wednesday you are planning. Of course, we will give you all of the detailed information for the trips on Wednesday morning. We will have all the information all over the sessions and the hotel, but you can always check everything online. One also technical note, since we are like quite a big conference, the lunch will be a little bit different this year in a way that the dessert will actually be served right in front here and not right in front where the coffee break will be held and not in the restaurant. So basically after you had lunch, you can have the dessert here where the coffee break will be held. I mean, this year we will have numerous panels, invited lectures, excellent papers in parallel sessions, in poster sessions. Poster session will be held right behind me, so right behind room A. You will have the poster session, and the poster sessions will be held always during coffee breaks. So it's an excellent opportunity to have coffee and stroll down the poster session and engage with the authors, ask questions, and so on. To conclude, I will just with the one technical note that after we finish with the opening ceremony and after we finish with the awards ceremony that you are all probably waiting for very eagerly, we will have a group photo before the coffee break. For now, the weather looks quite good. So I think the group photo will be held right outside. There's like a big patio and then stairs. So our local organizing people will try to guide you there, but it's basically very simple. You just go right outside and turn right. And we will have a very quick group photo, and then you can come back for the coffee break. Goran will try to explain and just remind you after we finish the award ceremony. So to conclude, I'm very happy that you all came to Dubrovnik. I hope you will have a great time here. I hope you will have excellent discussions, meet new people, meet new friends, engage and start up some new cooperations, maybe set up new projects or project proposals. And all in all, I really hope you will have an excellent conference here with us. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Tomislav, and all staff behind the organization of conference. So we are all count on the chairs and co-chairs of parallel sessions to follow the instructions and make the conference successful according to the plan. Also, as you heard, the dessert will be served outside, but when you come to the lunch, maybe you don't need to wait for the main meal. You can start with the soup, with appetizer, etc. So there is different islands, and try to, be supportive, as the lunch break is 1 hour only. So we will manage this, but it's also up to you. And now, finally, we are coming to the end of this opening session, maybe to the most important part, where we have Professor Natasha Markovska, SDEWES Vice President, who will lead the much anticipated award session. So let's see who is who won the best paper, but also the other SDEWES awards. Please, Natasha.